Welcome to the Yo Brother podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, man, we're back. We are going to do a review on the most successful Netflix film in Netflix history, K-pop Demon Hunters, Mike.
This week, anyway.
No, not this week. This has had over 266 million views.
Oh,
And
and
so it
not
has
to be
set records.
confused with Demon Hunter, which came out this weekend in theaters to like 80 something million, the highest rated animation film of all time. That was
That
this
to-
weekend.
that totally got by me. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So that's an animated film too?
Yeah. Japanese anime.
Oh, anime. Okay,
Yeah.
so a little bit different.
But
Um,
shocking, it did 80 something million.
Why is that
Wow.
shocking though?
I don't know.
Because
Just
it isn't something that appeals to you?
Well, maybe, and maybe I didn't even like, you didn't even know it was in the theater.
No, but I'm not commenting on its success. I'm not saying like you say,
Right.
"I'm so shocking
But
that it did
usually
that."
you look at the box office like I do over the weekend, and I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
think
"Whoa, that wasn't even on my radar."
yeah, you're more tuned in than I. Yeah, there've been some surprises like that. And this I don't know that you would say this is surprising. I think anybody that enjoyed this film, for those that have seen it, would certainly not be surprised by its success. But it's an interesting story. Now, we've done many episodes reviewing animated films. I mean, we've
Correct.
done a lot of them, and
I have a
uh,
huge I have every Disney animation film minus Song of the South, which they've erased from
well,
history.
you can't find it for
Right.
one thing, but it's in the Disney vault forever. But this is not Disney, so let's be clear. This is, through Netflix and what Sony
Sony.
Productions, yeah.
Right.
And this was a story that came from filmmaker Maggie Kang, and she I guess wrote it and I think co-directed it with Chris Applehans. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly, but her partner in this. And this she's not the first, Mike, Canadian Korean filmmaker we've had on the or talked about on the podcast, I should say. We haven't had Maggie on the podcast yet, but shout out to Miss Viva Lee, who is a young Korean Canadian actress that we've had on the podcast a couple years ago, actually. She was in the film Polaris, but this is Maggie Kang. Mike, how much did you know about K-pop before you came into this film? Quite a bit, I imagine.
0.
Hmm.
And I still know 0.
You still don't, yeah. Well, how much homework did you do for this?
Honestly, watching it was so painful that I didn't wanna dig any deeper.
See, this is just you. It's just not something that appeals to you. But this,
Correct.
right? But
And I'm dying to hear you convince me to like it.
well, it's not about convincing you to like it. I thought it was an enjoyable film, and I certainly know more about this than you do. I'm a little bit
Oh,
more
no
tied into
doubt.
this because I mean, just I think I'm more connected with this, K-pop and in general. Plus, some of the people I work with are big fans of K-pop culture, and so But one thing I want to say is, listen, with everything that's going on in the world today, this is another great example of a film that is uh, a nice change of pace, let's say, where very family oriented. Right, here's a great film if you have kids, and we
Right.
know that we've got a lot of supporters and listeners that have kids. This is a perfect film to sit and watch with your kids because it's got that mix of some inside jokes with adults, but it's it gave me the feel of Saturday morning cartoons for some reason. There was something different about this animated film, I can't even still put my fingers on it, but I had that vibe. I don't know if it was just that mix, like I just described, of kind of appealing to adults in the room but but visually maybe appealing mostly to kids. But I thought it was really funny too. I thought it was pretty humorous, a pretty interesting concept about these, this girl group that sort of, moonlights as demon hunters. And
Mhm.
it's really an homage to the Korean culture. Maggie Kang really was inspired to create a story and ultimately a film that pays homage to a lot of um, things that are important in the Korean culture. So, yeah, for all those reasons, I found it interesting, and then obviously the appeal. I mean, Mike, the IMDb score, we talk about the ratings a lot on the podcast. It's got a
Yeah.
Metascore of 77, which is a lot higher than many films we've reviewed on
I
this.
was stunned at the scores, to
Not
be honest.
not stunned at all. And I would say that IMDb Metascore is a little low. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, 96% from the critics, 99% from the audience. That's pretty phenomenal.
It just makes me wonder who's reviewing it.
Okay, Mike. Roger Ebert, one of your go-tos.
Yeah, but he didn't review it. His site reviewed it.
That's okay. You're gonna argue that now. Every other film where you bring that up,
No,
it carries some weight to it.
it
Now all
carries
of a
weight
sudden,
when it
wait,
was
wait, wait, wait.
Roger
Now you're gonna
Ebert. No.
qualify it. Yes.
No, I don't ever
You
since
don't
Roger
just
Ebert.
historically talk
No,
about Ebert's ratings. That's
that's
not true.
absolutely incorrect.
That's
If
not
it's not
true.
Roger Ebert reviewing it, I don't I
You don't pay
see
any
Ebert
attention to it?
pay no attention
Then
to it.
why do you go to that site constantly to look at the
To see
reviews?
his reviews of films from the past, because
So
we do a lot
anything
of older films.
okay, so only the reviews while he was alive. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Got
I
it.
mean, how can you call it rogerebert.com when he's dead? It's just a money
Well,
grab.
I'm not arguing that, yeah. But it
And
quoted
I
as
don't even know why you would question me. I've never ever quoted him without it being him. I've never quoted his site
okay,
on a film.
we'll have to go back to
Go
the
back and
we'll go
check
back in
every
the
reference.
The O Brother archives
Yeah, because I've
and
made a
do that.
lot of references to Roger Ebert
Yeah.
because I think he
Well,
was one of the greatest critics of all time.
the rogerebert.com site, I don't
Right.
wanna confuse it with Roger Ebert himself, who's
It's totally different thing.
unless he's writing from the grave,
Yeah.
uh, but whoever's writing for him referred to it as an emotionally empowering film. I think that's true, especially, I think it needs to be stated that you've got a female-led cast here,
Right.
and I can imagine, right? We can't speak from that perspective, but I imagine it's very empowering to see characters, animated or not, who are presented in this light. They're presented as kind of these kick-ass females, these demon hunters, but then there's their kind of vulnerable side of them too, where they're doing the silly things that young women and girls do, and so you get a little bit of both, and I think it's kind of
But,
a
who is
powerful
this?
message for women.
You've talked about the family
Yeah,
watching, and I get that.
yeah, for
But
sure.
who's the demographic this is after? This isn't after me. This is
No,
not to appeal to me.
no, sure,
So it
but
shouldn't be any shock. I would recommend this to every 14 to 18-year-old girl I know, which is 0.
I think that's a good thing for the authorities to know as well. That said, but yeah, no, I think, and this was released in the theaters on a very limited basis. In fact, I'm not certain of this. What I do know is there was a sing along version that was in the
Which is on
theater.
Netflix too.
It's on Netflix as well. Yeah. So if
Yeah,
you're interested in that, you can get that. Hugely popular. Like
yeah.
the theaters were packed with families singing along to this, and the adults and the kids. And, frankly, there's not a lot of those options these days. That's why I think, I'm here to sort of say, especially like as you say, who's it for? Yeah, it's primarily for kids and families for sure. It's not,
Which
middle-aged
I
white men
Right, I have
necessarily.
no issue with
But
that.
then again, that's okay. Like, there's certainly a lot of people in our demographic who
Right,
love this stuff, and that's
right.
awesome. That's
Like,
great.
for me, I love film noir, but I know there's
Mhm.
people that absolutely hate it, and I
Right.
respect that.
But you don't think that this deals in some universal themes that, would appeal to a broader audience? I'm not saying, "Oh, that brings in a whole different demo," but,
Yeah,
it's
I think the
relatable. It's
themes are
relatable.
really youth related,
Sure,
a lot
predominantly,
about
yeah.
there's a main storyline between 'cause you mentioned the girl band, there's a boy band too,
Yes. The
and
the Saja Boys, Mike.
right, and
I
one
love
of
those guys.
them is trying to appeal to one of the female pop singers to be
Well, what
herself because she has the demon markings, but here she has been espousing being a
Mhm.
demon hunter, which is kinda
Right.
what defines her.
And what is the message in that?
The message is be who you are from
Exactly.
him, to her.
Right, ironically.
But again, to me, that was be who you are as, a 14-year-old girl. I
No, I
didn't
don't I
take
don't
it on
think
a
that's
broader
yeah.
level like you did.
And I think, yeah, and I think people should. Um, this sort of
And I
negative
know
self-talk.
I'm gonna be in the I know I'm gonna get hate for this.
Well, it's fine to say it's an appeal to you. I don't think that was the intent of this. I think it's taking the movie for what it is and who it is appealing to. And would you recommend it to those folks? Yes, I
I
absolutely
would,
would.
but nobody in my orbit fits the bill.
We have listeners that span the demo, right? Where there's not just it's come one, come all to the Yo Brother podcast. So how about trying to appeal to a younger demo here in the Yo Brother podcast, Mike? This is your opportunity to make that case.
But there's no
So far, you're
way.
not doing a great job of it.
No, I'm not, and there's no way
Terrible
this
job.
demo fits us.
Mike's like, no, but get back to me when we're talking about the next film noir. Let's broaden our horizons here for crying out loud. Good
I
Lord,
tried,
folks.
but, like, the
What a
visuals,
grump. What a
I'm not
grump.
being I'm just
Total
being
grumpus.
honest.
You
If it
started off with like, it was so painful, and I
it
can't wait for you to
was.
try to convince me. It's like, what's with the attitude? You're coming in hot
I
and
passed the
heavy.
kidney stone yesterday that was less painful, and I'll tell you what bothered me.
Now it's making sense. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, I didn't watch it during the stone, trust me. I almost wish I had. But here's what bothered me. It wasn't the visuals. I thought the visuals were good, although there
Yeah.
was an issue that affected me that might affect some,
Okay.
especially adults, and you will know this because you play a video game. Well, you used to be really hardcore into a game. Um,
Call
what's
of
it
Duty.
called? Call of Duty.
Oh, you talking about strobe lights, strobe effects?
I'm talking about frames per second.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
There seemed to be an issue in spots where I almost felt a little nauseous, which I can't play that game, Call of Duty. I can't play a game like Doom for old school people,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
and that had an
Hmm.
impact on on my enjoyment.
That's
That
interesting.
plus the singing felt to me to be very much, and I guess this is K-pop, but if it was very
Yeah.
much auto-tune.
Oh,
It's
yeah. No, absolutely. No,
okay.
that's yeah. Now, I don't wanna claim like, oh, all, K-pop artists, auto-tune
Right.
or lip sync or anything like that, and I certainly am not here to claim myself to be some K-pop expert by any stretch, but yeah, I imagine that is admittedly part of it, as is the look. The look
Right.
is I mean, look at this is so perfectly captured. If
Yeah.
you've seen any K-pop, certainly a K-pop, boy band, this is exactly what they look like. BTS is one of the most popular K-pop artists in the world, and one of the only ones that I'm familiar with because someone I work with is a huge fan of them, and so I know a little bit about them. And this, I was like, they nailed it. Like this is exactly what you would think. Or you got Maggie Kang, uh, 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 Korean woman herself who, understands the culture and the mythology and all of those things. This is what I appreciated. Here's another example, Mike. So there's this tiger character and this magpie character in the film, and that
Mhm.
is taken right out of Korean folklore. And you're seeing a painting, one of these folklore paintings of a tiger and the magpie, which is very symbolic in the culture. So I like the way that that was integrated into the story. I just found that kind of neat.
Yeah. Um, the Backstreet Boys, which back in the day were one of the
Mm,
first boy bands, right?
yeah,
They're currently on tour, and they are making more money now, selling out more stadiums now,
yeah,
today,
right.
than when they were in their prime.
Well, it's
So, is
interesting.
there an audience?
Well,
Absolutely.
oh, for sure. In this, again, what little I know is that the K-pop really sort of came out in the '90s out of South Korean um, youth subculture, and really where it started to gain its prominence. But yeah, that's a good point. And I think with the Backstreet Boys, that's more that's got a lot to do with something we've talked about recently on the podcast too, which is this pull towards anything nostalgic,
Yeah,
right? There's a huge like the Emmys. As we're recording this, the Emmys was last night.
correct.
Don't get me started on that debacle again. It was just another just disgusting show of what. But what did you see on there? There was a tribute to the Golden Girls, and there was the stars of the Gilmore Girls came out, and it was all these things from back in the '80s and '90s that we're
You
paying
watched more of
homage
it
to.
than I did for
No, I
sure.
just watched a recap this
Oh,
morning
well,
on
there was an
YouTube.
award show, I think it was the MTV Awards last week,
The VMAs, yeah.
which one thing about that was I found relatable to this film is somebody was wearing, a sleeping bag as like a
Yes.
gown,
So
and
funny.
I saw that early in this film, and I was like, "Oh, that's where that came from."
It was
Like, I had
very
no
funny.
clue.
Yeah, well, it was the Met Gala because,
Okay.
there's some wild things that are worn at the Met Gala every year, and, so I know a little bit about that too, but I also like the idea that there's this they are again, this is all tied back to the Korean culture. There's this mythical creature called I believe it's called a gumiho, Gumiho. A gumiho. I think you say gumiho. So I
Yeah.
apologize if I'm butchering that. I don't want to be offensive, but it's a mythical creature like a nine-tailed fox, like a shapeshifter.
Mhm.
And so you kind of turn that on its head, and you've got these demon hunters shifting into this fierce, these fierce girl power icons. And again, another example of bringing the cultural aspect of it. There's another shot, Mike. You remember this, I'm sure, where the character you talked about, Janu, the
Right.
main male lead, he's wearing this outfit when he's in demon form, and
Mhm.
he's got this hat. It's a horsehair hat. Again, in Korean culture, this represents what we would think of as the Grim Reaper. And so, this servant who is sort of guiding souls to the afterlife. And, so again, I just thought that was really cool how she
Well,
worked all of
maybe
that into the storyline.
maybe you can explain one piece of the story that confused me is
Yeah.
when the Huntrix is the name of the trio,
Yes.
okay? So they're singing, and
Mhm.
at one point, the one in the middle who's kind of the lead singer, her marks appear. The demon hunter marks come, and she's shunned by the audience.
The
Now,
patterns. Yeah.
the patterns.
Mhm.
Now, cut to they're showing the boys playing in front of an audience. They're in the full demon logos and demon imagery, and they're being cheered.
Well, I think it was maybe being implied that it was a costume, right? Because
Okay.
it wasn't that was my interpretation of it. It's a good point, but
And I get it. I get that.
I think they were playing it off like they were in costume, and so that's
Okay.
what I took it to mean.
But you
I could be
see
wrong.
how that puzzled me a little bit. It's like, how
Sure.
come the girls are getting ostracized, but the boys, that's okay.
Yeah, now
But
let me
yeah, if it's a costume thing, but,
that's my
who's to say
interpretation.
she wasn't doing it for dramatic, you know, which she
Sure.
wasn't. I know she wasn't, but
Right, yeah, no, no. Okay, so here you have the 3 female, leads, the voice actors here, and
okay.
you've got, Arden Cho, who plays Rumi, who's in the center here in this picture I'm showing. So that's the lead character of Huntrix, and then you have, the very tall woman on the, if you're looking at this on the right, Mei Hong, who plays, Mira, right? Is it Mira? Yeah. And then Ji Young Yu plays Zoe, and this is the woman on the left here. So now, what's interesting though is the voice, the singer who does all of the singing of Rumi's character is an artist named EJ, who you
Hmm.
see here on the screen. Now, what's interesting about her story is she joined some academy over 10 years ago. I think it was like 2007, I believe. And it's this place where you go and they basically train you to be a K-pop artist. It's like you're groomed to be a K-pop artist. She spends all this time going through this and they ultimately never end up doing anything with her. And then fast forward now to, of course, her, she's blowing up all over the place because she's the one singing very catchy K-pop songs, we must say, like Golden and Takedown and Soda Pop that the other group, the Saja Boys, do. But she, I believe, again, she set all kinds of records because the Billboard charts were blowing up with these songs. There's some record, I thought I wrote it down. I don't have it in my notes that the soundtrack like hit the Billboard 100 at some spot that would like broke a record or something. So
Why such a because I looked at the numbers and I was confused
yeah.
at first. I had to send you, to confirm which film we were doing
Mhm.
because I knew there had been a Chinese film that had, done over 1,000,000,000, like, it's closing in on 2,000,000,000.
Right.
And I looked this up and obviously I could tell it was a limited release from the amount of money it made.
Correct.
Why didn't this do better or get a wider release if the
Well, think about
popularity was there?
think about it. It's a Netflix film. That's not their business model, right? I mean, it's right? I mean, that we've
Yeah,
talked
but,
about that before.
given what Demon Hunter
Well,
just did.
I think that's why they went with the limited, like, sing along. But again, they're trying to drive everybody to the Netflix platform. They want you to be
Yeah.
paying for that, right?
And
So
is there any other related because I could have sworn when I was searching for it that sure
no,
enough, Demon Hunter came up more than once, but
no,
I
this
didn't
is
know
an
if there was
original.
any
No. But
connection.
no, but there is talk of a sequel already, as you might guess. Um,
Yeah, if it's doing as
sh
well, of
yeah,
course.
you could imagine the things she could do, an origin story, a straight up sequel. I mean, there's a lot here that you could do, and I think obviously with its success and the records it's broken with Netflix. I mean, I just think that's inevitable, obviously. And in fact, I think I saw in one spot that it is confirmed that they're going to proceed with a sequel.
Now, there had to be some influence from Japanese anime because they look very similar.
I think I read something about that because I was trying to look into uh, a little bit of the background of the style that we're
Yeah,
seeing here because it's there's something different about it. It's again, I can't put my finger on it, but it did seem a little bit different because I said at the top, we've covered a lot of different animated films, but this isn't a Pixar kind of DreamWorks sort of looking film. Like you can tell it's different.
right.
Um, and
I
and
think
I
it
kn-
fit the Sony animation style to a
mm,
certain degree. I mean, I agree with you, it
sure,
is unique,
yeah,
but if I'm gonna compare it to any style, it would probably be Sony,
Yeah.
who did Spider-Verse and those kind of films.
Yeah, this was, there was some funny, I thought there was a lot of funny moments throughout, and this was this was a scene where they're preparing for a concert, one of their concerts, and they talk about they got to do some carb loading. So they're sitting here just gorging on all kinds of food, downing this food. And but the reason I showed this is because there's a lot of sequences where with the animation they exaggerate the expressions of the characters in such a way that's just really, really funny.
Right.
And this is one of the ones where you can kind of see it's a bit of a over the top, facial expressions. I just thought that was kind of funny. Mike, let me ask you this. Now
Yeah.
you're gonna find this to be a stretch, but I thought it was interesting. I'm sure you didn't think I was gonna do this deep of a dive, but
No.
this here I'm this is a little clip from the trailer that I'm gonna play. Now, after watching this, I'm reflecting on it. I'm doing some, reading about it and
Mhm.
so forth. Something hit me and I said, geez, it's reminding me, believe it or not, a little bit of when we did a review on Sinners,
Okay.
because this idea of like sound as a weapon.
Mhm.
Can you help me make that connection? If you think about the in Sinners, the use of music as this conduit
Right.
to summon dark spirits and things like that. I found something in there that was kind of related to
I
it.
see that. I can see
Yeah.
that
And
connection.
and sound as a weapon is just kind of what I came away with. But this was a good visual representation of it here. You see this, demon coming out and taking this guy's soul from his back, kind of this cool sequence that they
Right.
show in the trailer.
Now,
Anyways, I
right
thought that was
there,
yes.
when that came up, I'm like, "Oh, they're copying the Avengers Tower."
Oh,
That's what
here,
came
yeah.
into my head because it looks
Right,
just like
right.
Tony Stark's building.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I listen, I thought I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it to families and especially because again, it's hard to find those options these days in the theater in particular. And again, this was a limited release. It's not like it was in the theater for months. It's been on Netflix for about more than a couple of months. I think it came out at the end of June.
Oh,
It
I
started
thought it was
streaming.
brand new.
I did too. Now, it was up until a few days ago, it was number 1 film on Netflix.
Right.
Right now, I think it's dropped to, like, 3rd place because there's some guy with his shirt off and in the number 1 position now. It's like, it's just so anyways, yeah, so I guess you don't have a lot more to say about it. Like I said, I was getting Saturday morning cartoon vibes. I thought, "Oh, this is a great fi" and not to mention the runtime. Now it says an hour and 35 minutes. It was barely an hour and like 25 minutes. There's a lot of credits that run that extend
Right.
it out to like 35 minutes, but it's a really quick watch,
Mhm.
it's not a big investment of time. So if that matters to anyone, and that's something to put out there, but
Now, I'm gonna even date me and make me more isolated with this comment is
okay,
this is what
go
it
for it.
reminded me of.
Yeah,
The Brady Bunch, okay, which
sure.
was
Yeah,
growing up, it was a big show for me,
good
and
reference.
there was a one episode where the family or the kids, the 3 boys and the 3 girls became a singing group, right, dance "Some's calling my name," whatever,
Yeah, that's
but
good.
ultimately, the movie or the, music studio wanted to sign Greg only. He was the
Yeah.
oldest son,
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo, because he fit the costume.
That's right.
And I got those vibes watching this, that because of the auto-tune,
Uh-huh.
these 3 young girls fit the mold and they're being
Yeah.
exploited.
Yeah. Well, and
That came
again,
into my brain.
that's interesting. Yeah, they're using their voice and their talents ultimately to like fortify this protective shield around the community, which is called the Han Moon. It's like this big
Right.
protective shield. And so it went pretty deep with the mythology and everything. So I think there's a lot here. It's not a shallow story. I think it's a really solid story that you get here. Some really interesting and funny characters. And again, it's a film that pays homage to the Korean culture. So, I think that's shouldn't be understated, right? I remember when I mentioned our interview with Viva Lee. If you haven't watched that interview, go into our celebrity interview playlist and watch that interview with it. It was a really fun conversation. And I remember her saying when we talked to her, we asked her about carrying this film by herself, being this lead in this
Yeah,
film. And she said,
especially at her age at the time.
yeah. And I think you asked her, what did you think when you got the call? And she said, I really didn't think there was a place for girls like me uh,
Yeah,
in this industry, right? So I think even though it's animated, right,
right.
I think this is really powerful and important for people who may not always see themselves reflected in the art
Correct.
form.
In
So
mainstream
I'll leave you with that.
films,
Yeah.
like Viva, she set a standard for girls like her. She's somebody they can look up to, younger
Mhm.
girls, and now she's, you know, what you said, that's at least 2 years. So she's a young adult at this point,
Oh yeah.
and I'm hoping, she's finding roles, be because she expanded the universe a little
Well,
bit.
and she's multi-talented. She's also this kind of young entrepreneur, and she's doing a lot of things with civic engagement. So, can't say enough good things about her. She follows
She's
the
very
podcast.
mature
Very
for
mature,
her age.
very mature, but she's super talented, multi-talented. She's into
Yes.
a lot of things. She dances, she writes music, she plays instruments. She's a martial artist. Like it's crazy how talented she is. But that was something that I took away from that I recalled in thinking back as I was watching this. That to have those role models in whatever form it takes is powerful. I mean, it's easy for us to say we've been represented in the mainstream culture for our entire lives. We haven't had to
Right,
look deep and hard to find those things.
right.
Not always in the best way. Disney Song of the South included. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
examples of that too. But so, anyways, the only thing I'd say here is, yeah, it was a very enjoyable, sweet film. Some really good messages and universal themes throughout. So good for families, but yeah, there's no doubt they're not after your
Right.
they're not looking for you to sign up here and tune in. But so I'm sorry that you hated it.
No,
I mean,
I'm glad it's out there in the ether, and I look forward. I won't see it, but I look forward to a second iteration for those who did like it,
mhm,
because they deserve to be rewarded for the loyalty of watching and being
yeah.
committed to this art form.
And hats off to the animators. I mean, it's amazing the things that they do and how long something like this takes to put together. It's in development for such a long time, and the creation of this kind of art
Oh,
is really,
it takes forever.
which is why you see 10 minutes of credits to all of
Right.
the creatives that are involved in this. So yeah, I'm sorry, but you can deflect all of your disgust and anger to one of my colleagues who actually recommended we check this film out. So
No,
she's
I'm not upset that I watched it,
that
but it's just not my wheelhouse. Just not
yeah,
something I would not rewatch it. You're not gonna walk in on me singing to the one with the
the
lyrics, the
sing-along
sing-along
version.
version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would kill to get video of that. Well, there you go, folks. K-pop Demon Hunters. It's smashing records, number one film in Netflix history, original film. So you can check that out. It's still in their top 10. Like I said, it was in the top three in the last time I checked. So anything else to say here, Mike, on K-pop
No,
Demon
I
Hunters
I
before we wrap?
agree with your recommendation to people, with kids that are looking
Mhm.
for role models that are, all of that stuff is good stuff.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, you know what else is good stuff, Mike? Going out to the Oh Brother podcast website and also the Oh Brother Podcast YouTube channel, and subscribing and liking our videos out there. If you haven't done so already, we would appreciate that. A lot of engagement on YouTube. We love when you guys comment on the videos. We're also an audio podcast, so don't forget, if you want to listen, take us with you when you're at the gym or on your commute or whatever. You can find us on every podcast player imaginable. You go out to Instagram too. We're pretty active out there at OHB, B as in brother podcast, OHB podcast. Same as the website, ohbpodcast.com. At Oh Brother Podcast, all spelled out. That's our handle on YouTube. So if you're looking to find us there, and then you can just look at speaking of which, Mike, the animated Mike and Dan logo of the Oh Brother Podcast, the one and only Oh Brother Podcast.
I have a lot of animated stuff behind me. My favorite show of all time is The Simpsons.
That's true. Seen every episode, and how many seasons now are we going?
Way too many. We're like 39 deep.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
longest running show on TV.
Another record breaker, in the animated world. All right, well, there you go, folks. K-Pop Demon Hunters, the Oh Brother Podcast review. That's going to do it for another episode of the Oh Brother Podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.